Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Must Watch Tips by AP. I hope you all are doing fine. In this tutorial, we will be learning how to create table in Excel, what are the features available in Excel table, and how to give the structure referencing of a table. And the last point which we will be covering is how to apply slicers on the table. So without wasting time, let's get into the video. So here we have a dummy data from column B to H. So in this data we will be applying table. So first we can select the range, or if we don't want to, we can just randomly click on a data and go to insert, and here you have an option, table option. So you can just click on the table option and automatically by default it has select our data range. If it doesn't select the whole data range, then you can go and click over here, backspace the thing, and you can select the data range manually as well. And right now I have headers in my table, so I will click this checkbox and I will press OK button. So now my data is in table format. The another way to create a table is, let me press Ctrl Z, and now if I will right click on the table, here I have an option, get data from table or range. So now automatically the required data set is selected. I already have the headers in my table, so I will checkbox this option and I will select OK. So then my data set is now converted into the table. The another way to create a table is, I will press Ctrl T, and you can see that this table option is create table menu is open, and I will press OK. So then we will get the data in table format. So we have three ways to create table. So now as we can see that table is created, so we have one more option of table design. If I will click somewhere over here, that table design option will go. So right now I am clicking on this data set. So now we will see what all options are available in this table design ribbon. So first is the table name. Excel by default gives a particular name to a table. So right now Excel has given this table a name as table 5. If you want, you can change the name of the table. Then summarize with pivot table. We will look this pivot table option in upcoming videos. Then if you have any duplicates, then you can remove the duplicates, and if you will click on this remove duplicates, all the columns checkbox. Now I don't want to remove duplicates from date cell, so I can uncheck that. I have headers in my data, so I have clicked this also, and I can press OK button. So right now I don't have any duplicate value, so it is telling me no duplicate value found. If I want to convert this table into a normal data range, so I will click anywhere on this table and I will click this option, convert to range. This pop-up will open. So do you want to convert table into normal range? We will click yes, and now table is removed from this data, just the formatting of the table is left. So because right now earlier I was clicking on this white cells, so table design was not coming, but right now I am clicking on the data set, then also table design is not coming because now it is a range, data range, and just the formatting is left. If you want, you can remove the formatting by clear formats, but let's again add the table. So the next option is insert slicer. We will cover this insert slicer option later in this video. The another one is export. If you want to export this table, you can export this table as well. So now if I am adding one more name below Param is Roy, so this Roy will automatically add in the table. If after that, if right now I am adding some stuff like pen in this set, so then this pen will also be considered in the table. So if you want, you can refresh your table as well. by clicking on refresh button. The next option is header rows. If I will click on this, already it is clicked, so we can see that we have this data in header rows. If I will uncheck this, so that row header is now removed. So let me go back again and click on header rows and it will automatically appear. Now total row, right now I haven't added total row. If I will click on total row, so you can see that total is there and automatically it will give us the total of last column. Now if you, instead of this total, if you want average, so it will find out the average of these all numbers. The next option which we will be seeing is a banded row. So already we have banded rows as a tick mark. So you can see that our data is in banded format. One strip with a color and another strip with white as a color. So if you want, you can remove this banded row as well by just unchecking this box. And now you can see that this table is plain. If you will checkbox this first column, so you can see that now our first column is bold. If you will checkbox the last column, so we can see that last column is in bold. If you will click on banded column, so instead of this, earlier the rows was highlighted, now columns will be highlighted. Alternate columns will be highlighted. The next option is filter button. Right now we have filter button in the header. If I will uncheck this, so filter button is removed. And you have some more table styles over here. Like this is the custom table style. If you want the light styles or some medium high colors, so you can choose colors from here. You have some dark styles as well. And if you want to create your custom new table style, so you can create your custom table style as well by selecting the options and clicking on format and then OK. So this was all about the table design ribbon functions. The next part which we will be covering is structure referencing. So we know that each table have a name. So right now we have given the table name as sales data. If you will try to add space between the name of the table, so it will throw you an error. Like you can't add the space or any character. So we will just give the sales data name. For structure referencing, we will press equal to. If you are selecting whole header, then in square bracket it is headers return. If you will just click on zone, so it says that in from header you are just selecting the zone. So now if you will select whole data set, so it will say sales hash all. And if you will just select one column, just like I am selecting items, so you can see that it is saying from all data set you are selecting the item part. This was one way to do the cell referencing. The another way is you can directly write sales data. So you can see that automatically the data is coming and then you have to press square bracket. So whatever things you want, you can select. If I want zone, so I can just select zone and I will complete this bracket and press enter. So automatically I will get the zone part. And for this empty cells, 0 will come by default. So this was about the structure referencing. The next part and the last part of this video is slicer. How to add slicer in our table or how to use slicer. So first we will go in table design and then you will insert a slicer. We use slicers for the columns which have the duplicate values. So suppose if I will add slicer for item part, so now I can see the unique names of these all items. So if I will click on pencil, so whosoever have bought the pencil and from which zone, we will just get the data of that particular item. If I will select the stapler, so you can see that now we have the data of stapler. And if I will select the blank, so we have this blank thing in the item. Now if you want all the items to be selected at once, so you will just click on this clear filter, and now all the items are selected at once. If you, instead of selecting all item at once, if you want any one or two items to be selected, so what you will do, you will click on this multiple select option and click eraser, exam board, pen, 2 3. So you can see that in items we can see these three options. Now instead of clicking on this checkbox, you can also press Ctrl and select eraser, exam board, or any option which you want. Just you need to hold Ctrl while selecting these all options. So you can see these all things. Now if you want to change the name of this slicer, like right now it is item, and now if I want to change, I will go on slicer settings. I want display headers to be visible. So right now we have display headers visible. If I will uncheck this box and I will press OK button, so you can see that the header has been removed. If I want to rename the header, instead of items, I want to say as things, and I will press OK button. So you can see that now header is changed. And if you want this all names to be ordered in ascending order or in descending order, that also you can change. Right now by default it comes in ascending order. If you want, you can do the descending order thing also. Right now we have applied only one slicer in this table. We can apply more than one slicer also. So let's see how are we going to apply more than one slicer. I have selected our table and I will insert slicer to zone also. So this both slicer will work at a same time. So from things, if I am selecting stapler, so you can see that now stapler is only bought in this central and east zone. The west and blank option is not available now. So if I will click on central, so we have only one data. If I will click on east, so now we can see that we have staplers, and in east we have these all names. The another thing is, like if I want to change the stapler and I will go on pencil, so I can see that in east I have these four options only. If I will click on central, so I have this six options. Now if I will clear filters from this both slicers, so I can see my whole data set. You can resize the slicer box, and then if you will click on slicers, you will be having one slicer tab. So you can see that right now you have selected the zone slicer. So you can see that you have name zone over here. You can, if you are selecting things, so you can directly change the name from here also to items. Then if you want to go to slicer settings, you can directly go from here also, and by right clicking on the slicer also you can go on slicer settings. The next option in slicer section is slicer style. So you can change the color of slicer, and if you want the new slicer style, so you can add your customized slicer style also. Then if you want to bring this slicer forward or you want to send this slicer, you can arrange the slicer as per your requirement. We have all the buttons in one column. So if you want to split this, you can add these buttons in two columns also, and you can increase the width of the slicer. So now you can see all the names clearly, and you can increase and decrease the height of these buttons, width of these buttons, and you can increase decrease the size of the slicer as well. Till now you must have understood that how to create the table and how to apply slicers and filter on that. Thank you so much. For more such tips, follow Must Watch Tips.